Hello, it's Alex once again from the Remote Work Life podcast. I hope this finds you well wherever you may be in the world. Today, I'm going to share with you another tip, and I want to just really explore the idea of staying on schedule, being strategic about your work if you're working from home, especially, or wherever you may be working on a remote basis. It's really important to be strategic about your work, or at least I think it is anyway. And of course, to stay on schedule, to adhere to your schedules, stick to your schedules where you possibly can. And what I want to do is, first of all, share with you a personal situation, personal anecdote, and provide, again, as I usually do, some things that you can take action on that I've learned that hopefully will help you. As you all know, I'm a big advocate for remote work, and remote work has changed my life, especially since I've had my family. It's changed the way I work. It's helped me to work more effectively, I have to say. And I know for certain that I work at my best when I'm able to not just work remotely, but able to have be empowered to control how I work. So again, when I first transitioned into remote work, I struggled to maintain balance. In fact, I struggled with lots of things. Balance was just one of those things. Another one of those things I struggled with was routine. Another thing that I struggled was with incorporating strategic work hours into my day, and that's probably what I want to focus on today. And again, what I used to do was I would just take work as it came. So, for example, if there was an email that I needed to answer, I'd answer it there and then. I didn't necessarily think about whether it was something that I needed to answer there and then or not. I would just answer it. If there was something that I needed to write, I would write it. If there was a phone call that I needed to make, I would make it. I wouldn't necessarily allocate certain portions of the day for certain tasks. But then I realized, I don't know how, I think this is probably from speaking to other people. And I tend to do that a lot. I speak to lots of other, not just remote workers, but people who are, you know, productive, for example, not just on a remote basis. Spoke to them, wanted to understand how they did it. There was times when my work life was bleeding into my personal life. So I knew that at that point I just had to make a change. And like I said, that's how I understood I needed to make a change. And that's why I began to find different ways of working. One of those things was having new routines, which I've spoken about in previous episodes. But one key thing that turned things around for me was being strategic about my work hours and identifying my most productive times of the day and scheduling my most challenging tasks during those periods. So the things that I didn't necessarily enjoy that much, so writing detailed documents, was something that I would normally do in the morning, for example. That was when I was at my most creative. My brain was at its best when things were flowing. So I tend to write detailed things during the morning, and then I realized as well that if I mix things up a bit and then took a break, once I'd had my focus time writing whatever it was I was writing, I'd then move on to something like making the phone calls that I needed to make in the afternoon, because that helped me to sort of be a bit more physical and a bit more animated, and it kind of woke me up after after a heavy lunch, for example. But phone calls for the afternoon, again, it depends what type of phone call as well. If I was making a sales call, it may be a different time than if I was making a follow-up call, for example. So again, I was strategic about when I made my sales calls. I was strategic about when I made my follow-up calls. That would be for a certain portion of the day. And the things that I perhaps enjoyed the most of all, I would leave towards the tail end of the day, when perhaps I was at my least active and my least sort of functional, I suppose. And those sorts of things would inspire me to carry on and finish the things that I needed to do. But that's how I found my method of getting more things done is by being strategic about my work hours and what I was doing at those particular hours. And of course, incorporating breaks was key for me as well, something that I didn't do first and foremost at the beginning. That was really important. And of course, as always, that physical activity that I speak about often on different episodes as well. And the boundaries. So all those different things tied in with the strategic work hours was something that really turned things around for me and enabled me to supercharge my productivity essentially. But this was all because I was able to learn from others as well. So I'm grateful to all of those conversations that I've had with my fellow remote workers and those who don't work remotely, those who understand productivity. I'm really grateful to have had those conversations to help me to build a better balance and to boost my own productivity as well. So what I'd say, by staying on schedule and being strategic about your work hours, you can experience, I think, increased productivity. You can experience a better balance. You can experience better well-being as well, as I think, from being strategic with what you're doing when you're working from home or working wherever you are working from on a remote basis. And it's essential to treat, as I always say, treat remote work as profession, as the same level of professionalism as you would a traditional office role, if not more. But I want to say thanks for joining me today, and I look forward to sharing more with you on the next episode.